Can you see the screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to participate. Realizing the fact that the topic, which is digital transition in shipping, is extremely wide. I have tried to focus a little, but I would then initially say that to take it to the extreme, the Yara Birkeland, which is really the first autonomous ship driven using electric power, is in line with what the Norwegian ambassador said, that we are really in Norway going to concentrate on zero emission shipping and doing whatever we can in order to exploit our maritime history and our expertise in R&D to push these barriers as much as we can. And this Yara Birkeland was really a breakthrough of these types of technologies in practical implementation in Norway. I mentioned the topic of maritime informatics as a title to my intervention here, and I would like to point you to this group, which is called the maritimeinformatics.org, which is a, shall we say, group or a collaborative environment in which all those interested in the topics of digitalization in maritime transportation should really be connected. A very first practical example of how this collaboration has emerged is a book which has been published by Springer Verlag, and it concludes a combination of researchers and practitioners in really trying to explain how we can bring this topic further. There is also a new emerging book coming, as you will see from the people on the right-hand side here. The contributor spans number of countries and a number of professions in the maritime sector. When it comes again to maritime informatics, there are a number of technologies that then may be arriving here, but the core of my thinking in this is that no one can actually do this in isolation. We really have to do it as a collaborative effort, and that means sharing our information. And even though we are not a European funded project here, it's funded by Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein, I need to point you to a couple of initiatives that are quite important here. First of all, for many years, we have heard about maritime single windows, and EMSA, also situated in Lisbon, is responsible for the European maritime single window, which I'm sure you all are aware of. What I want to point you to particularly here is that another European initiative, which is called the DTLF, Digital Logistics Transportation Forum, and they have the task of the Commission to promote standards for information exchange and other initiatives in the area of logistics, including maritime logistics. And the concept of an electronic freight transport information regulation has been now put in place, called FT, and it will be enforced in August 2024, which at which stage all people, including maritime operators, will need to report electronically to all forms of authorities in Europe, which again requires that almost all of the operations in the maritime sector will have in one form to be relating to these types of reporting capabilities. A couple of other initiatives that you need to be aware of is people who are really thinking about how best to share information, both in the form of what the information need to look like in order so that they can be shared in practice. Another is a, she was a technological set of platforms and how they may interact so that this information may be shared efficiently and seamlessly. So both Phoenix and Federated are two European funded projects with a very large consortia, and they would most definitely impact how we in European maritime settings will have to relate to, she was a providing information and information exchange both between operators and in the area of communication between operators and authorities. A more specific and practical example of this initiative is what was called Port CDM, which started out at a port collaborative decision-making. She was a project and initiative, but now has turned into a European standard, or actually a global standard, because it's now standardized through EALA, which is the international organization of ports and lighthouses. And the ambition here was really to look into the efficiency of shipping operations. And they then easily identified that port call performance is not really up to standard. Many ships are quite unproductive, having to wait in port to be served. And the idea of this initiative was to try to tackle that specifically and to then realize the fact that ships and port need to be connected, not only to through voice call and other mechanisms, but also electronically. And the initiative behind this, or the initiative here was really then to enable electronic connectivity between ports, ships, and port at the destination. They were doing this then by trying to create a standard, and this standard was then made to enable efficient shipping by tackling all of these issues that are in this slide here. The benefits and the KPIs, the key performance indicators that they were really trying to attack here was then punctuality, duration time, predictability, capacity utilization of the port and berth productivity, and the waiting times, so that we may then have more efficiency in shipping by returning turnaround times in total, just in time departures and operations, which is quite important in logistics, because in logistics, if the shipping operation is really part of an integral logistics operation, you need really to have reliable estimated arrival times. You have to be arriving when you say that you're arriving. Otherwise, it will impact the complete logistics operation, not just a ship. Because ship is typically not a standalone thing. It's always part of a wider end-to-end transport operation. The end result of this activity was a new standard, which a new EALA standard called S211, port call message, which really has the potential to significantly improve all of the activities and efficiencies between ship and port, and thereby also increasing the attractiveness of maritime transportation as a key element in short sea logistics operations or intra-European logistics operations. In intercontinental transportation, we're obviously dependent on ships, but we are able to make the operations more efficient, both from the point of view of the operators, but also from the point of view of those people who are waiting for the cargo. Thank you.